Hello and good morning, Miss Tiffany. How are you doing today?
Fantastic. How are you?
Really, really well. I'm glad you asked. Boy, I love the Great American Recipe. This is one of those shows that says, "Hi, Mr. and Mrs. Average Person. You can be a star in your own kitchen."
They are stars in their own kitchen, and it's an opportunity for them to really show what they do at home. And I think it's great because it shows the diversity of different types of food and cuisine in the U.S. And there's no better place to showcase it than the Great American Recipe.
I'm so glad you brought that up because I'm from Montana. I now live in Carolina. We do not eat the same food, but I do love both regions. And I also love going to New York City and Los Angeles because of the regional food.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think it's a great point because it is so diverse, and we have a guy who's from also Montana, and in the episode, it was a couple episodes ago, but in the episode we were talking to him about the spice level, and one of the ladies on the show, Leah Cohen, who's also a judge, she said, "I like mine a little more spicy," and he says, "Well, I am from Montana." And so he's like, we don't really have a whole lot of spice where I'm from. And it just goes to show that in different areas of the country, there's different levels of spice, there's different ingredients used. And I think that makes it really great. In fact, he was from Minneapolis. That's what he said. He's from Minneapolis. And he's like, "We don't really do spice in Minneapolis, but in my area, my family." So it was really nice because there is different types of cuisines that are present and also different spice levels in different parts of the world.
Well, look at barbecued ribs. I mean, you people in Texas, you make them big, but over here in Carolina, we use vinegar. So, I mean, there's a little battle between we southern states.
And I won't say which one is the best, but we all know.
Yeah, right. Oh my God, I love it when I'm blessed with the opportunity to talk with a lot of the musicians and stuff like that are traveling the country. And when we get onto barbecues, and I'm telling you, it always turns into fighting words, is what it does.
Oh yeah, you put a Texas girl and you talk about barbecue. I mean, come on, you were asking for it.
One of the things that you've been a tremendous leader at is you stand up for the farm to table lifestyle. You know that is such an important part of our everyday world right now because it keeps our local farmers active and a part of our community.
Yeah, I think we really need to be careful with the direction we're going. And I think most people aren't thinking about it. The average farmer age is like 62 years old. Mm-hmm. That means that they're getting older and there's no one else. Their kids are not wanting to step into the field and do that type of work, which is a hard life. Imagine, looking at what the weather is, how much sun is, how much rain every day, figuring out if there's a storm and when to pull and when not. Like, it is just a really hard life that you don't have as much control over, right? And so, we need to be supporting our farmers as much as possible. And I often say, it's what we're supposed to be doing. So, within even my restaurants, I'm not making a huge deal about, we are a farm-to-table restaurant, because guess what? We should be. We're a restaurant, we serve food, and we should be working with our farmers. But it is so necessary, and I really hope that everyone starts to support local just a little bit more.
You're so right about that hard work out there on that farm, because growing up in Billings, Montana, and traveling to Ranchester, Wyoming, we had to irrigate those fields, but we didn't have the big pipes. We didn't have those things that crawl across the fields. We had to get out there with our hands with these quarter circle pipes and learn what the suction of the water was going to be so we could get it down those areas so the corn could get some water.
Yeah, it's hard. It is definitely hard work, and not everybody wants to do it. And I think we just need to make sure that the work that they're doing is very much important, and make sure that we continue to support more.
You are a continuation when it comes to cooking and things like that, because your grandmother was the one that planted that seed inside your heart. What was one of her greatest cooking tips that you continue to use today?
Oh, great question. My grandmother was a very intuitive cook, and like a lot of other recipes from our elders, they didn't write them down. They didn't, measure the way we measure nowadays, right? It might be a scant of salt. You're like, what's a scant, or a pinch of that and a pinch of that. And a pinch really didn't mean a pinch. And so she would tell you, put it in your hand right here, and that's how you measure how much that is, right? And learning to listen to the food. How does it smell? What are you seeing? Is it browning too fast? If you start seeing this, then turn your pan down, things like that. And so it created me to be very intuitive, no matter what the recipe says. Recipes are guidelines, right? And so from that, you create your own. And I think that right there, the lessons that I learned from her have definitely been the root of my cooking, and also the guidelines for creating better food.
Being a judge on the Great American Recipe on PBS, does that also make you a student? Because those home cooks are bringing in some family tradition.
I think that you always have to be a student in everything you do, right? For me, one of the things that I loved about the Great American Recipe and continue to love is that we're always learning a new technique. We're always learning something new about a cuisine. We're always tasting something. And there are moments where, I've had something at least 20 times, and then they do it and you're like, oh, and so even in the dressing, we're like, what did you add in there that brought this, nuttiness, and and then like, I toasted the cumin, and you're like, just that little tweak of toasting the cumin made the dish stand out more. And so they're bringing it. The flavors are incredible. They are just some of the best salt of the earth. And to see so many different types of food under one roof is exciting every day to try and to eat.
One of the things that I really found myself doing during the lockdown, and what I find inspiring on the Great American Recipe, is I want to know more about my spices. I want to know what I can, combine that shouldn't be, brought together, but yet somehow they worked. And I mean, and so, but I think that the spice rack is still a place that a lot of people don't know about. They're only going to what they think they know.
Yes. I mean, most people cook with what they know.
Yeah.
Most people go to the grocery store to buy what they know. They don't use spices that they don't understand fully. And I think that if we did, our food would be so much more interesting. And one of the things that I hear often is like, I cook the same thing. Everything tastes the same. I eat the same every week, when I'm cooking. And it's like, if you just picked up a few spices, doing the same food you do, it would taste so different. And so I just have a love for spice in general, and spices. But I think that you're right. If you could use those spices right, you can create new dishes, create more magic in the kitchen. And even just, again, the idea of toasting things, high heat cooking, roasting in the oven, all of those things bring out different dishes. Boiled broccoli and roasted broccoli, those are two different dishes. Even if it has the same exact ingredients in it, those are two different dishes.
How has the air fryer changed the way that we live life these days?
I personally don't have an air fryer.
Really?
My mom does.
Oh, wow.
I know a lot about it. I know. I may be the only one left. I might be the only one left. I don't know how much longer I can hold off. But, for my friends and even my mother, it makes things quicker. She loves it, sets that timer, loves the fact of no extra oil. Like, those are things that they love. I just use the oven and turn it up and do what I need to do.
Listeners need to know more about the T2D project that you're a part of. You have made such a major impact on this. And I mean, it's like, here we are. Let's talk about this so we can get people to that website.
Thank you. Yeah, Tiffany is the company that all my restaurants are under. Roots Southern Table in Farmers Branch, which is the Dallas Metroplex area, and then Roots Chicken Shack is also in the Dallas area, and then I have a Roots Chicken Shack in Austin. And one of the things that is important for me and for my partner is we want to create opportunities for those coming behind us. My first job, I asked to be a cook, and they told me no women were allowed in the kitchen. And because of that, I wanted to create a space where not just women, but all people felt comfortable and wanted to be a part of something bigger. and we create space for everyone. It is one of probably the most diverse restaurants I've ever seen, and I love when people come in and they go, "Wow, look at your dining room! Look how diverse that is! Like, that must make you happy." And I'm like, "You have no clue how intentional it is, one, but and then how it does make me feel." So within the company, we're definitely trying to shake some things up of, one, how we see the industry, how you create restaurants, how you build concepts, and understanding, the fragility of the restaurant business, and how do you protect yourself a little bit more. And honestly, it's really about mentorship,
Yep.
creating those opportunities, but also teaching, because a lot of the new chefs that are coming into the business aren't getting the fundamentals that are necessary in order to make our industry stronger. And so for us, it's being that spotlight.
Wow, I'm just so proud of you. Please come back to this show anytime in the future. The door is always going to be open for you, Tiffany.
Thank you.
Thank you. Will you be brilliant today, okay?
I plan on it. You too, buddy.